Hey y'all, I'm Abby.
And I'm Keith.
Welcome to our 80s Life podcast. We are here tonight to solve the age-old question, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Hey guys, welcome to our podcast. We have some special guests tonight that we want to introduce you first, starting over here with Mark.
Mark the mixologist, back at it again. Merry Christmas.
I have to follow that?
Yeah, sorry, Susan.
Susan.
It's nice to have them back in the saddle, though.
Yes, we have some new guests tonight. You guys,
Amy.
And Scott.
Amy and Scott, thank you for joining us
thank you.
for our mayhem.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
We just had a dinner themed to Die Hard. Mark told me it was the best one we've ever had, by the way. Not trying to brag or anything, but he liked
Incredible food.
It was
Incredible.
good
Dinner was
food.
delicious.
sauerbraten. I was kind of scared. I was like, okay, I've never cooked German before, but sauerbraten for the
Nailed
win.
it.
Then we watched Die Hard. We polled our audience a few days ago. We asked them to vote whether or not it's a Christmas movie.
I was shocked how close it was.
Me too. I thought that Christmas movie would win.
So there were 62 votes. 53% said yes, it's a Christmas movie.
That's close.
47% said no.
What is wrong with your
I know,
viewers?
I know,
I'm
right?
sorry. I'm going to call them all out
I
right now.
think that the biggest deciding factor on this is the fact it's an action movie. I feel like if it wasn't an action movie, I think less people would be on the
Hey,
fence.
The Rock is in a Christmas movie right
Yeah,
now
there's
that's
plenty of
action.
action Christmas.
Machine guns and killing and terrorists.
Is that what you think is preventing it from being a Christmas
I really
movie?
do think that
I
that's
have
part
a
of it.
machine gun. Ho,
Ho, ho, ho.
With a Santa hat.
So the guys said yes and the girls said no.
I don't
wouldn't be
know.
surprised.
I don't know if that's true or
It'd
not.
be interesting to know, just because.
So I used to think maybe it wasn't so much. And then we rewatched it with the lens of, is this a Christmas movie? And as we watched it, I wrote down all of the Christmas references. And I came up with 17
Wow,
references.
that's
And
quite a
I was
few.
being pretty conservative. Some people have come up with over 20. So just like between the music and all of the different like ho, ho, ho and the Santa and the, all that. 20 references is a lot of Christmas references for a movie that's not Christmas. And the entire thing takes place on Christmas Eve.
All right, so let's ask the panel here.
Okay.
We'll start
Panel,
with Mark. Mark,
Starting with Mark.
So let
Is
me
it a
prove,
Christmas movie?
Let me prove my case first.
Okay.
The second movie takes place in an airport in Washington, D.C. at Christmas.
Was it DC or Denver?
But this is
Washington,
the
D.C.
first
Adults.
movie, though.
I understand, but they didn't make a second movie at Christmas the same time if this wasn't a Christmas movie. So they're
Okay.
both Christmas movies.
They're both number 1 and number 2.
And they are
Two is just not so
actually
overtly
the
Christmas.
first and second best Christmas movies ever made. So,
Ever made.
Oh.
ever made.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm sorry to all the Christmas Vacation fans, Elf
And
fans,
Home Alone.
Fred Claus,
Come
Home
on.
Alone, whatever it is,
Okay.
the Santa Claus. No, sorry.
It's
Die Hard.
definitely
bad.
the
Die
most
Hard. Die Hard's the
action.
best. Die
Okay.
Hard is the best.
It's
Christmas
definitely
movie.
the most action-packed Christmas movie.
Best movie ever plus best Christmas movie.
Oh, wow. That
Wow.
is a tall
Really-
order.
Really putting it out there.
I'm
Susan,
laying
what
it
are
out
your
there.
thoughts? And now, are you jaded from your husband's opinions?
No, she knew when she married me. It
This
was
was
my
part of the
favorite
vows.
movie, and she would have to accept that.
You have
right away.
to accept. Do you take this man and his love of Die Hard to be your husband?
Now we will argue over Christmas Vacation versus Die Hard is the best
Oh,
Christmas
I'll
movie.
fall on my sword for
Yeah,
Christmas.
so we have just agreed to disagree on that and stay married.
He loves Christmas
I love
Vacation,
Christmas
by the way.
Vacation,
All right, Susan, but do you think that Die Hard could count as a Christmas movie?
I do.
I mean, you have to go home with him, so good answer. Good answer. You better say yes.
I do think it's a Christmas movie.
Okay, all right.
And I always have. I honestly didn't realize it was released in July because I didn't see it until I met him, which was after it had
Gotcha.
been released. So I just thought it was a Christmas movie.
Since I watched it daily back then.
I was thinking that, like, okay, I did look it up, and it was released in July, so that's a strike against it, but
To be fair, I could watch Christmas Vacation every day.
okay,
And
so
it's-
could he.
I could.
Yeah.
Keith, what are your thoughts on Die Hard as a Christmas movie?
Of course, it's a Christmas movie.
Of course.
Of course.
I
there's,
did
there-
not.
there's no doubt.
Okay, I did not have an opinion. Keith and I watched it a couple weeks ago to refresh our memory because it's been a while. And I went in with an open mind and I wrote on here all of the Christmas references and came to the decision that, in my opinion, it is a Christmas movie because it's all Christmassy, even though it came out in July. So I'm voting yes.
Okay.
But Amy, what are your thoughts?
I have to admit, so for the longest time, I argued this one. I did not think it was a Christmas movie.
Wow.
But I have to admit, you're right. With all the different references throughout the entire movie and the theme, while it's still an action movie that doesn't have that feel good to it, I will admit it's a Christmas movie.
All right.
Do you not feel good when Hans falls from the building?
I surely don't feel bad.
I'm gonna take credit for this. She wants to stay friends with the Keens.
I have been turned, I will admit.
All right.
I will let it be a Christmas movie. Only because there are just so many different movies out now. I mean, when we were growing up as kids, there just weren't a ton of Christmas movies, right? You had your couple that you watched every single year. You got excited about watching them. But now there's tons of different Christmas movies. So if I'm going to allow all of those in, then I guess I have to let Bruce Willis in too.
We love Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
100% Christmas.
All right.
Okay.
100%.
Did you
All right.
always feel that way though?
Yes,
Like
since
even when we were
1988.
kids
Since I was
growing up?
14 years old.
1988.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Hey,
right.
I just think the Christmas in July sale started after this movie came out.
Oh, this was the
Oh.
So
inspiration.
I give this is the inspiration for Christmas in July
Christmas
sales.
in July.
Nobody had that before '88.
Okay.
Saying.
It was a good year.
So we're 100%.
100%.
Yeah.
Hope you guys are on board. If not, hopefully we can affect your thoughts on that. So we all think that it's a Christmas movie. Also a timeless action movie. Shout out to Bruce Willis, an amazing actor in this movie.
So you bring that up about action movies and Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
Think about the time period who he was competing in:
Yeah,
Stallone,
Schwarzenegger.
Seagal, Van Damme,
Arnold.
Arnold.
Yeah.
all these big
Tall
buff
order.
workout guys, and here's this regular guy, Bruce Willis, who bounced into the action scene.
Yeah.
Well, they
Dominated.
wanted all of them.
I was going to
Before-
say.
I'm sure all those guys said
Do you
no.
know who actually was the very first choice?
Was
What?
Stallone first?
No, Sinatra.
What?
Wait, what?
Because okay, so the book, the series, there's two. There's a prequel to the book they used for Die Hard. Sinatra played the character in that movie. He was like, I think 62 or something when they
Okay.
did this movie. But because of the clauses in the contract, they had to offer this role to him. And of course, he turned it down.
Right.
But then they went through the Stallones and the Schwarzeneggers and all the other people. Like Willis was like,
Way down.
they
way
did
down
not
the list,
want
huh?
him for this part.
Wow.
Oh, man.
So that's actually kind of what's even more amazing about it is it holds up against the Rambos
Oh,
and
yeah.
the Terminators and
Sure.
all that stuff.
Back when everybody was big and buff, and he's still
Yeah.
got a little belly on him, and just looks like regular Joe out there.
he was
Kicking
he
some
didn't
tail.
have a belly on him.
He had a
was
little
pretty
belly on
cute.
him.
There was
He
no
was pretty
belly.
good.
And
And
he
you
was
watch, there's a couple scenes. He's got a
he
little
was
belly.
like 2 years into moonlighting. And so he was
Yeah.
on the rise, I would say.
but he wasn't a
Agree.
tough guy. He was a comedy
yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
But he was liked. He was well liked.
Yeah.
I mean, he was definitely
yeah.
well received, but
He's-
not so much for this in the beginning when it was first released.
So this is why I say it was my favorite movie of all time. The
Okay.
very first time I saw this, I was not sure Bruce was going to make it through the movie. Every other 80s action movie, you knew Stallone was making it through. You knew Schwarzenegger and Predator was going to kill the Predator at the end. I mean, it was all there. But in this one, there was this just maybe Pal's going to save everybody at the end, and they're going to make him the hero, and Bruce is going to get shot. And
So you saw it in the theater.
I saw it in theater the very first
Okay.
time.
So was it the bathroom scene when he's giving up? Like hope is lost?
There-
Is that
there's
when
just
you...
this fear of at some point they're going to blow something up. He's going to take a shot, and there's going to be somebody you don't see that rises up. This one, I really wasn't sure he was going to make it. Like this was going to be different than the other 80s movies.
John McClane definitely has a vulnerability that a lot of the other action stars don't really have. Like you see him being vulnerable about his kids and then picking glass out of his feet.
The,
And,
the closest would have been back in the set, like 77 with the first Alien with Sigourney Weaver.
Okay.
Not sure she was going to make it.
she might not make it.
Thought the alien might win. Jaws. Thought the shark might win.
Yeah, fair.
How does this film balance humor and tension? Is there enough humor in it you probably would say yes since
Oh.
it's your favorite.
Absolutely. With just some of the writing of, Agent Johnson. No, the other one.
No, the other one.
I mean, just the little things they slipped in here and there that if you're paying attention, you start chuckling and going,
I was
"That's
in
great."
junior high. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we just saw it, right, with the cop that he's coming to the building, and he pricks his finger on the rose
Yeah.
bush.
It's the rose bush going through.
It's like, ouch, right? And it's like, he's going in to shoot, whatever.
Okay, 'twas the night before Christmas. Uh-oh, the police
favorite-
have themselves an RV.
I feel like the humor in this movie was a little bit more subtle than some of the other ones we've done, like Beverly Hills Cop, where it was
Oh, he's
really
just
like
Eddie's
all
funny.
in
hysterical.
a comedy movie. This one's like a very delicate balance between action and comedy. I feel like action wins over comedy in this one, but there was some comedy.
Well, there's not tons of dialogue. I mean, when you really think about it, there's not tons
No,
of
there's really
dialogue
not.
in this movie.
Yeah.
But with that said, when there is,
It's funny.
Definitely comedic.
It's the delivery mostly, right? I
Absolutely.
think it's not necessarily the content in a sense. It's not the funny, gag stuff, obviously.
Right, right.
It's how they deliver
Yippee-ki-yay.
it. Yeah. However long it's been, you remember all those lines and how they were said. Right?
Absolutely.
That's a
And,
huge
and it was
piece.
a long movie.
It's
Yeah.
long.
I mean, for the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean,
What
this-
was the total time on that one?
I mean, it's right at 2
It's-
hours,
it's
just
at
under
least
2
2
hours.
hours.
Okay, yeah, because an hour
Yeah,
and a
we
half
are getting
was
close
pretty
to the
much
40th anniversary of it. Aren't we?
the norm. Wow.
Oh yeah,
3 more
that's
years.
true. Okay, we're ahead
more
of the
years.
Wait, when did
game.
it come?
Came out in
88.
July of 88.
88.
So
Oh,
July of
okay.
28 will
Yeah,
be 40
okay.
years.
How about Hans Gruber though for the villain?
Alan
Rickman.
Rickman
Oh, love Alan
is
Rickman.
amazing. You know that was his first movie.
I didn't know
They
that.
found him on stage in London. Yeah, he was
Oh.
a stage actor.
Stage
This was his very first movie, and then after this, he was famous. Like that was it for him.
And he's having to do an accent through the entire movie.
A couple of accents.
multiple. Yeah.
Multiple accents.
Bill Clay.
Bill Clay.
Clay.
A Brit as a German as an American.
That's American.
That was amazing.
And when they do American, sometimes if you notice, they try to. There's a little like Southern.
Yeah,
There's a little
always
there's a
Southern on there
twang.
because they can't.
They can't,
They
quite
can't cut
do
their
it.
words off like.
So that's the
normally
serious
would.
one. Like Huey Lewis. Is he really a Southern guy?
It's
or
not
is that,
Huey Lewis.
is that
Not
like
Huey Lewis.
Is that
It
like
just
a
looks like
Canadian
him.
actor that's doing?
We
a
probably need to
Southern
look up
accent?
this
should've
guy's
looked him
name.
up.
They're coming back down.
The guy that's at the security desk through most of the movie, he
It's
just
Huey Lewis.
It
he
looks
just
like
refers
he
to him
does.
as
It
Huey
really
Lewis
does.
because
Looks
he
like him.
really does look like him. We probably should have looked up his name.
Dennis Hayden here, a.k.a. Eddie, Die Hard 1.
It's very possible that Huey has been asked before. How did he enjoy filming Die Hard?
How were you in Die Hard?
I mean,
I met
what
Huey
was
and
that
I asked
like
him
for
that.
you and Bruce Willis.
And he knew exactly what I was talking about, by the way.
Wait, what?
What?
I met Huey. I hung out with Huey Lewis.
You hung out
We
with
hung out.
And you literally asked that question.
you
Oh.
and Huey?
Heck yeah.
Okay.
Dude, I loved you in Die Hard. And he just started laughing.
So wait, you really ask him that?
I said I loved you in Die Hard. And he just started laughing.
How are we just now
right.
hearing of
That's
this for
pretty
the
good.
first time?
You think I'd be shy? Not bring that up?
No.
All right. So, what did you guys think about the music in the movie? How the music changed or carried the storyline?
It's Christmas music.
Back to the
I
Christmas
noticed the
thing.
Christmas
Definitely there's-
music, but I don't know that I noticed. Were we talking? Was
Yeah,
it
Run
more?
DMC to start.
Okay.
Okay,
Right.
yes. We got
Yes,
Christmas in
yes,
Hollis from
right.
Run DMC.
Yes.
But I was thinking about at first when they're in the, party, they're playing orchestral versions, upbeat
Yes.
versions of like joyful, joyful, we adore him. That's what I call it, the Hallelujah chorus or
Sure.
whatever you want to call it. And then all of a sudden when the van pulls up and the Germans get out, it turns like into a dark version.
Yeah.
And then it turns back to a lighter version at the end. I thought that was really well done. I don't know who did the music in this. I mean,
Was not Harold Faltermeyer.
no, it was
No.
not. It was not original music. It was Christmas music. But they changed it from
Right.
like a major tone and then to a minor tone
Disappointed
and then
myself
back.
for not noticing.
I thought that was really cool.
All right. So other than Bruce Willis as John McClane, who's your favorite character in the movie?
To like or make fun of.
Yeah, that's good.
Because if I'm making fun of someone, we're going with Ellis.
Are you talking about the cocaine guy, the Ellis? Okay, I was like, what's his name? We just called him the cocaine guy.
Hans, Bubby.
The guy that was doing cocaine that we all thought was kind of a douche canoe.
He's a
like,
total douche.
It's probably Powell. I mean,
He deserved to get capped. He deserved to get capped in that
He was
movie.
good.
I don't know. The hot blonde that lost her shirt.
the very beginning. She's in it for about 10 seconds. Come on, Mark.
Obligatory shot, yes.
She's got two scenes. She busts in the room with a guy, and then later when they're pulling everybody out of the room.
She was a real classy lady, that one. Yeah.
It's got to be Hans. I think he carried.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's
made
amazing.
this movie, right? I mean, obviously Bruce Willis did, but he's a perfect villain, right?
Yeah.
He's fantastic.
And none of us, and you didn't know who he was, right? Do you not remember? I mean, I remember that. Just who is this guy?
Hans
We'd never seen him
Gruber.
before.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the principal from Breakfast Club, though, Dwayne T. Robinson.
Yes.
Dwayne T. Robinson. Immediately, we're like, it's the principal from the Breakfast Club.
Has he ever played a character that's not really just a schmuck?
That's like
You know?
likable.
I mean,
I don't
Glass.
think so.
Yeah.
Who gives it?
He only plays jerks.
Yeah.
And
just
same
we
with
talked
William
about.
Atherton.
Yeah, William Atherton.
The news
Oh.
guy.
The news guy,
Richard
yeah.
Thornburg.
William Atherton only plays sophisticated douchebags,
true.
but he does it so well,
Yeah.
Does it
though.
well.
It's very specific. It's very specific douchebag.
Yes.
Casting makes such a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the Johnsons.
The Johnson twins. The other
Special
one.
Agent
Not that
Johnson.
Johnson. The other Johnson.
No relation.
I'm Agent Johnson. This is Special Agent Johnson. No relation.
You recognized him right away from the
There was a
Fratelli
couple.
brothers.
The lady who played Mrs. Walsh in the Goonies
Yep.
was one of the anchors on the news.
Yeah.
Oh, the blonde lady.
Right.
Yeah.
couple
And so the
Goonies.
Goonies would have been a few years before this.
Right.
Interesting that they pulled multiple characters from that movie to be in this movie. Oh, speaking of the Goonies, side note, they're making a new one.
Is that real though?
I think it's real.
I think it's fake.
I think it's fake.
There's been a lot of fakes out there.
I think it's
but
fake.
I think this is
doing
real.
that
I feel like there might be a
lot.
real one coming now.
I think there's a real one.
I think that most of them don't have a lot going on. So.
It's
Well,
it's
I
sad
think
we
it's
live in a time where now we don't know if things are
It's
real
all
or fake.
AI.
Everything's
You know?
AI.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I haven't
that's
been
true.
able to watch the first one all the way through, so.
Oh, now I know.
Sorry.
I know
It's
what
no
we're doing.
Die Hard.
No,
Goonies
no
might be.
Die Hard.
Goonies is the next movie. Yeah.
Maybe not.
Mark, that is
Hang
such a
on, let me
Mark
write
thing
that
to
down.
say.
Yeah, write it down.
E.T. Really.
Are you for real?
Oh my gosh.
Mark is about to get disinvited to all of the next
Let's
80s
ride a
nights.
bicycle.
You got very
You
controversial
literally just broke my 10-year-old heart in
Yeah,
half.
same.
And then you spit on it.
I only watched cool movies.
Oh, for
Like what? Like Breakin' 2?
Die Hard.
Like,
Electric
Break
Boogaloo.
into Electric Boogaloo.
Yep.
We have
nope,
the soundtrack
nope.
over there, by the way.
Never went to that one.
I did. I saw that in the movie theater.
well, I've learned this evening that there's a list of movies that Mark needs to watch
Yes,
that are
clearly a lot
excellent
of
movies. so,
military
yeah.
movies.
He's got a
We need to-
gap.
I was not a war movie guy,
Yeah.
unless it was Predator.
I need to hear some other like top quality action
Well, you
movies
just said 'em.
in
I mean-
comparison. What? So anything Schwarzenegger
Indiana
does?
Jones.
Yeah, Indiana Jones. I mean,
Again, Spielberg.
Boy,
Star Wars.
Robo-
was Indiana,
Cop.
were those action movies?
Well, of course
Yes.
Star Wars is science fiction. I wouldn't
Star
call
Wars
that
is
action.
closer. You're right. That's probably closer to science fiction.
I mean, that's the whole thing, though, right? In the 80s, there were these action movies like Commando, like the Seagal movies, the Rob Van Dam movies. They were just to watch these guys flex and beat
yeah,
people
and
up.
that's what I'm saying. That this is more real.
This was like a real movie
scene.
that had like production to it
Yeah.
and was good.
What was the Van Damme one with Dolph Lundgren? I liked that one.
Dolph.
Dolph
Oh,
Lundgren.
Universal Soldier.
Yes.
I liked that
Okay.
one. That was a good one.
So that was like the first Van Damme movie they probably actually had a budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
After like the first four like low rent guy with a camcorder.
Fun fact, our number one comment that we get whenever we talk about action movies is that Keith looks like Dolph Lundgren.
I don't see it.
we
but
don't see it, but
I don't see
our
that.
viewers keep telling us they think he
Interesting.
looks like Dolph Lundgren.
all the RoboCop fans
All the RoboCop video.
are like,
funny.
Keith, can you say I must break you?
you.
I must break you.
All right, there we go.
He will lose.
If he dies, he dies. We got more. probably.
All right.
Keith, lots of taglines.
Part of the appeal to me as far as the action was him troubleshooting and figuring things out. It wasn't just blowing stuff up. It was like he had to really put some
Solve problems
problem solving behind it and be really resourceful.
versus just
And
guns
just-
ablazing.
yes,
coming. That's what I mean.
yeah.
By the more real.
Yeah.
That's true. All right. So thinking about this was made in 1988. So how would this story play out differently with things like smartphones and modern technology? How would it have changed the movie?
I think just what the police force would have had at
would
their
end in 10
disposal,
minutes.
right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Boom, they're done.
What is it? The scans, for like the body.
Thermal imaging,
Yeah, thank you.
Thermal
That's
imaging.
it. Thermal imaging, and
just like in Predator.
Right.
Back in the 80s.
so not a fan of that movie. What's the
She
line?
has to see
Say
it
the
about
line.
1,000
What's the line?
times.
What's the line?
The chopper?
Yeah,
Get to the chopper.
Do it. Do it.
Get to the chopper.
So we're thinking this movie would have lasted about 10
Yeah,
minutes
I mean,
if they had had the smartphones and technology.
Feel like yes. I think
lot of that.
it would have been a little bit
Shorter.
easier. I don't know that they were still blowing stuff.
I don't know.
up,
They
and,
remade this
mean,
movie years later with more
Well, it's-
wokeness, less action, cell phones, and more technology. They called it Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Oh, I like that movie. Paul Blart is a great movie.
It's just a remake of Die Hard.
In a mall.
But I
In a
will
mall.
say this: watching this movie almost 40 years later, I think it still holds up. Like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
still, some of these movies are like, oh, that was.
Yeah.
That was so cheesy. How did we watch
yeah,
that?
was so cheesy, or just some of the effects and stuff. But honestly, this was like your classic, stunt work.
Yeah,
which
again, there weren't a lot of
now-
effects other than the building blowing up, right? That's
Right,
it.
but I mean, now you see obviously a lot more CGI and just different things they're using. But I mean, I was thinking about that as I was watching some of these scenes, like when he's wrestling with Carl and jumping on stuff. I mean, you really actually do see the choreography that went into stunt work that I don't know if we see as much of that now.
All right, so we need to address the wife beater.
Oh, geez.
Oh my god.
Oh, the shirt.
Oh, you mean the mistakes? The mistakes in this movie?
Let's
Yeah,
talk
Mark
about the
has a
mistakes.
list of
Mark
mistakes.
has a list of grievances.
Even though he loves
The
this
Aaron's
movie.
Favorite movie. I've seen it so many
Airing of
times, though.
grievances.
It bothers me when he walks in the front door to check in, and the guy has him go through the computer and do everything, and then he says who he's looking for, and he goes, "Oh, they're the only ones left in the building." Well, if they're the only ones left in the building, what'd you
Why
make him go
didn't
through
he
the
just-
stupid computer thing? Just send him up to the only place in the building that has people.
Just say 30th floor and get it over with.
I know. We drug that scene out way too long.
Well, they had to figure out how
They
to show.
had to
Yeah.
show
his
that she
wife
was going by
Yes.
Holly Gennaro.
Okay,
That's
but
right.
what he could have done was he could have walked up to the desk. He could have said, "Who are you here to see?" He could have said,
McClane.
"Holly McClane." He could say, "Oh, we don't have a Holly McClane."
yeah.
Yeah.
So it could have
Exactly.
been done
So
differently.
again,
Instead of
Hollywood
the-
writers
We'll rewrite that.
botched that one.
Yeah.
They needed smarter people like us. to
I
do that.
agree.
But do they want us to see the technology that they were using in that building?
Yeah, maybe.
Because
I
that
think that's what
wasn't
it was.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
wasn't as typical back then, right?
Yeah.
When you
No.
walked into a
Yeah,
building.
that was fancy.
It
That
was
fancy.
high tech.
So okay, so now
All right, talk about the elephant in the room.
The
though.
big elephant in the room is the tank tops. They start with a
t-shirt.
white tank top
It'll never be the same
with
again
blood
for
on
me.
it.
Yeah.
And then it goes to a black one, and then later it turns to an olive green one, and there's kind of a brown one in there somewhere,
my
which may have
gosh.
been the olive green one.
So they
I'll give you
had-
benefit of the doubt. Said at least 3, but it could have been 4
no, they had
different.
17. They used 17
say,
different.
yes.
That's what they say, that they used 17 different tank tops at varying degrees. I saw 4.
Yeah, we didn't see 17.
And how does it become green? I mean, he
Yeah.
didn't. And
And it's
if-
perfectly green, right? It's on the arm. I mean, everything.
Yeah, it was white.
that's
It
the
goes
thing.
completely
Yeah.
black
if
and
you
green
had
and
white
brown.
Solid.
with those
Yeah, you can't.
colors,
It's not gonna happen.
fine. He obviously got dirty.
I mean,
But
keep spraying dirt and blood on
he
him.
didn't
but
jump into a
leave him in a white
vat
one.
of
Exactly.
something gray, green, black at different
You
times.
know,
It's hard
we
to
missed
unsee
the scene
that.
on the 34th floor that had washing machines where he just threw it in with some
Yeah.
that rit
He-
dye
yeah,
and changed the
exactly.
color of it.
Changed the
That
color.
time it was getting stinky. I had to
Yeah,
wash it.
So now I'm completely bothered by this.
Me
Like,
too.
it's-
Sorry.
I
We
mean,
didn't notice it until you told us, and then we
Yeah.
were like,
How though?
Wow.
How did I not ever notice that his shirt is?
And now I want to believe that he
Completely
changes
different.
it somewhere in the movie. We just didn't see it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back and rewatch.
you guys, next time
Yeah.
you watch the movie, take note of the color of the
About
t-shirt.
midway through,
The
you
tank
really,
top. It's
yeah.
Just one moment he.
You
just
cannot
walks in.
unsee that. I'm sorry if we're ruining it for you. Thanks a lot, Mark.
I apologize
you
for
ruined
ruining the
it,
entire
Mark.
movie for everyone.
well,
I feel like
I
we
often
would've
go in the
noticed.
yard and start with a white T-shirt. And when I come in,
Back then it's
when I
black,
come at the end of
brown.
the day from like a hard day's work, it's black.
It's-
you
and
know?
I'm like,
White,
babe, why'd
yes.
you change shirts?
All of it.
Yeah.
But that's the way when you were fighting Rocky. That came
that's
out.
right.
That's where you learned that.
So
I will break
bizarre.
you.
I mean, but how many people were working on that set? Not one of them said, "Oh, Susan." or Karen."
Continuity.
Oh, not Susan. Sorry, we have a Susan.
Sorry.
Whoever the director is.
I picked a random name and I said Susan, but like,
Judy.
Yeah, Judy. Let's
Why?
talk about this here. He's obviously not going to be completely covered in grime, dirt, blood, or what have you. And
Spots.
Judy was like,
Yeah.
"No, this is how it's going to be."
These
Sorry.
These are the 17 tank tops we bought. We're going to use them all.
Yeah.
We're gonna gradually change them
That's
to
what
a
I was
dark.
gonna say. It's just a gradual
It's
progression.
so
from
weird.
Okay, so
white to-
the
the
other
other
big
one?
one besides tank tops
Yeah.
is windows.
Yeah.
What?
Okay, windows.
Oh.
What about it?
The first window he has to smash with a chair before he can throw the dead guy out
Okay.
Right.
on top of
The car.
the cop car. The next one he has to shoot to get back,
get back
in,
in.
but he has to hit it with his gun before he can swing in on the
Yes.
fire hose. And then the last one, Hans Gruber, he shoots him in the head and he falls backwards and goes right
But
through
the
the glass.
The
no,
glass
the
was
glass was
broken.
The
already
glass was already
fractured
broken.
from
Oh,
shot.
I think you need to rewatch that scene.
Uh,
It was big. It was
There was a crack.
The fracture was like
Where'd that come
this
from?
big. Plus,
We
Went through
I don't know
Hans's
where it
head and
came
broke the
from all the
glass.
gun
might have.
shots.
So it was the same exact window that had been shot out earlier, and he
fell out
happened
of
to fall
one
out that
a
one.
lot easier. A
Okay.
lot easier than any other
No,
one.
because I was watching because you had made that comment before, and so when that scene was taking place, I watched, and sure
It was-
enough,
it
yeah,
was-
there's a giant
was
fracture.
fractured.
All
in
right,
the
so
window.
when you're watching this, debate on the glass. Am I right or are they right?
No, you're not right.
And then watch
you're 100%
RoboCop,
wrong.
and you'll say, "Oh, this was
Nobody's
amazing."
nobody's
because
arms grew.
The RoboCop one is so bad
It's terrible.
that it makes this one look amazing.
The Hans falling scene is pretty. I mean,
It's
the
very
reaction.
The Hans
good.
falling
You remember
scene
his face.
is
Yeah.
well
right?
done.
It's amazing.
I feel like it's memes. I feel like there's memes with,
probably is
with
memes.
him falling.
The biggest memes are that one and the one of Bruce Willis crawling through the
Into
air
the air
conditioner
vent.
vent
Yeah.
thingy.
But the Hans falling one should be like everybody's Christmas card. At this
Yes.
one.
Everyone's Christmas card.
At least once.
I got your Christmas card this year, and it didn't even have that on there.
I know she won't let me do it. I am dying to
We
do
didn't
that.
get
Aw,
Christmas card from
Suze,
Hans.
we haven't.
Is
we
it?
haven't
That's a
sent
disappointment.
email.
Man, Mark
Probably.
didn't send
It was
me a
only
Christmas
family
card.
pictures.
Okay, next year, let's get him an olive green tank top
Yeah.
and let's build
yeah.
him the actual
Yes.
air vent. And then we will. Okay, Mark, I'm going to make your
Mark
Christmas dreams
crawling
come
through
true.
the air vent.
We
I'm
can
in.
do that.
I'm
We're
in.
gonna make
I'm
this
all
We
in.
can
happen.
make this happen.
Sold.
Yeah, we can do
Sold.
It's going to
it.
be so
Start
good.
working
Sorry,
out.
Susan.
Start working out now. Look good in the tank
Oh
top.
yeah, you gotta wear a tank
Oh,
top.
my.
Well, if you're
And
in,
start
if you're in air
smoking.
vent,
Crop
you won't
you.
see all that.
Yeah, we'll crop you a little
Yeah,
bit. You know.
yeah. This will be good. Yeah.
Okay, so
No
Make an
worries.
airbrush.
great movie situation, right? So they got crawling through the vent there with the lighter doing that. And he's crawling through that tunnel in the second movie.
Okay.
And he says in the second
Yes.
movie,
Yeah.
like, how does the same guy end up in another one? I mean,
Yeah,
perfect.
it's awesome.
Perfect. Because you're going to see the sequel and you're like, really? He's in another vent?
I know it's.
And he
He
just
says
they just
it.
address
He
it. He
makes
just
fun
has
of
the
it.
same
Yeah.
guy end up in another one of these. Yeah,
Makes fun
exactly.
of it. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, he's no Judd Nelson crawling through vents.
Wow.
All right, so let's talk about the relationship between John McClane and Al Powell.
Ow, pal.
Al Powell.
Sergeant
Bad
Twinkie.
name.
Sergeant
The
Twinkie.
Twinkie guy. I just was picturing him as the dad from Family Matters.
Yeah. Carl.
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 Yeah.
Did it work?
He's a great actor.
Yeah,
See, I hadn't seen Family Matters, so it didn't bother
I
me.
didn't either.
What?
I
At
didn't
that
either.
point.
I'm with you.
Oh
Was
my
that
gosh.
before
It was
or
later in
Well,
life
no,
I learned
no, but I
Urkel
think-
was.
Yeah,
so.
me too.
But I think
It's
that-
before, but I mean, I
Yeah.
just think of him as the dad from Family
But
Matters.
now when I watch
was
it,
in other
I
stuff,
keep
too.
wanting like Urkel to be the limo driver.
No, nobody wants more Urkel.
To answer your
guy.
question, I thought that was a cool camaraderie that they had.
You have this struggling marriage, right? And so he seems like an ass. You know, he didn't go with his wife. She had this opportunity. So then with Powell's character, I think you see the softer side of John McClane because you really don't have any other contact with him and Holly in the movie. So I think that he kind of humanizes him, if you
Yeah,
will.
he does.
You like that? How he did that? Yeah.
And then at the end, he changes. He says, or she says her name
Yeah.
back to her
Exactly.
married name.
Yeah.
There's even
So-
some irony. in
Because she
that.
almost died.
There's
And
some
so she
ir-
realized.
irony in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she almost died.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I almost died. Maybe I do want to marry this.
I guess
be
I'll
married
be
to this
back
guy.
with
Stay
him.
there.
The guy that saved me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I should
Yeah.
stick with it. Yeah.
Or
was gonna-
maybe.
She was going to go with Hans because he had $640 million.
He's kind of a jerk.
She was
though.
going to be his hostage.
That's why they get divorced after the second one. She's like, $640 million, threw the guy out the window. I was leaving with Rolex and $640 million.
But I heard he makes a mean sauerbraten though. Okay, how is this movie aged? It's like almost 40 years old.
Yeah.
In a couple of years, it'll be 40 years old. Do you think it holds up
I do.
Yeah,
as an action movie?
I think it's still fun to watch.
Yeah.
it's relevant.
It's
There's
very
not-
entertaining.
It's
Yeah.
not aged. There's not. Yeah, there's not a. I mean, there's obviously 80s, some 80s in there, right?
The little computer.
Yeah, but there's not a ton.
No,
you
you're
know?
right. It actually really.
I just think that,
Isn't.
they say that imitation is the biggest form of flattery. Do you think of the number of crappy movies that have just copied this.
Use the same.
Steven Seagal
Yeah.
Under Siege, right? Okay, they moved it to a boat, but it's
Submarine,
the guy
yeah,
fights everybody
whatever, yeah,
back,
it's
blah, blah,
boat.
blah. And there's newer stuff now. You can go through Netflix and there'll be 5 movies.
Yeah,
There's
there's
one stud guy fighting off a bunch of terrorists to save
In one
everybody.
building,
Yeah.
one day.
And it's all the creative things he does.
Okay.
But this was kind of the first one of those.
Yeah.
You say that as if most action movies really take on their own form versus copying the exact same format.
Well,
Yeah.
no one can recreate Predator.
Predator was different.
yeah.
Predator was different. First Blood was different.
Yeah. Those are very distinct movies.
Yeah, good guy, bad guy,
Bad guy.
problem,
Lots of action.
lots of action,
Shooting.
very little
You're
dialogue.
oversimplifying. The problem
Kill the
had to be a
bad guy.
different problem.
Good
Different
guy
problem.
wins.
All right. Did anybody think about the fact that the wife's name is Holly?
Christmas
And
movie.
his
Christmas movie.
I wrote that down as one of my reasons why this is a Christmas movie. Why'd they name her Holly? They could have named her anything. Come on now.
It's clever, and as I told you, that's Macaulay Culkin's aunt.
Macaulay Culkin's
Oh,
aunt.
Home Alone star.
Also a
Christmas.
She
Christmas
got the
movie.
job
Reference.
because related to a Christmas movie guy.
Also a Christmas movie.
His
We
was
rest our
92.
case.
There we go.
Case
We're
rested.
a little off on the timeline.
Nice
but yes.
knowing
Yeah.
ya. Thanks for
Well,
watching.
originally he was going to be Rudolph McLean. So, I mean,
All right, so let's talk about the very end when Bruce Willis and Holly get into the limo.
so we've blown everybody up. We've shot the guy coming
That's
out the
how
door
that
who was
happy
hung on a
ending,
chain. And, oh, yeah. Now we're going to get in the limo
No, wait,
and drive
the-
off.
No talking to cops.
the
We're just
part-
gonna-
ambulance.
Yeah, no ambulance.
No ambulance, no cops.
He's actually got a bullet in him, I think.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah, he's still got a bullet in him.
Yeah,
He's
shot.
been winged
He's
at least.
all
Just
bloody.
a flesh wound. Just a flesh
Just a
wound.
flesh wound.
Just going to get in the limo, kiss my wife, and drive home.
And no, that was the other one we talked about was the fact that Argyle was in that parking garage the entire
The
time
entire
and didn't wait till that
The
moment.
very
to
end of
bust
Jack
through.
through the gate. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he could have literally saved how many lives if he had just gotten off the phone, stopped jamming to his tunes, and drinking the alcohol.
Making the booty call.
He couldn't hear any of that action because he was listening
Yeah.
to
I love when he's on
DMC.
like the 30th floor.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, Bargal, you heard that? Yeah,
Yeah.
right, wait, 30 floors away in the
Yeah.
basement."
I'm not going to hear that.
He didn't hear it.
Was I the only one thinking, like, in today's age, if you had to sit in that car for like 3 hours, how bored we would have been without a cell phone to like play games,
he
do
was calling
something.
people.
He was just calling people and just enjoying the tunes.
On
Like, that
the
just
brick
cracked me up.
phone.
That was so 80s, right?
So
we were
80s.
entertained for hours just listening to music on the radio.
The phone was a novelty.
On
He's
the
like, I got
cassette,
a
on the
phone
cassette
in
deck.
the
Yes.
car.
Heck, yeah.
And a cassette deck. Yeah, that was like a very
I
fancy
know.
car.
That was my. I just,
What was he
wow.
probably paying per minute on that call?
Oh my gosh.
12, 14 bucks a
Yeah.
minute?
Yeah, but he's only paying 74
yeah.
74 cents a gallon for gas.
Yeah.
We
He's
saw
making
that
up
on
for
the
it.
side.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, we did see
In
that.
California.
In
74
California.
And we were all like, oh, that's hard to
was
see.
That means it was like 48 cents here.
Exactly.
Well, it is crazy that it was a 2-hour movie and then all of a sudden it just wraps up
Yep.
with they right off into the sunset.
Right, sunset. Yeah.
That's true. Well, if you could change anything from the movies or something you would change, develop that character more, the relationship between the two of them, what would you do different
Again, I wasn't the hugest fan of the casting of Holly.
of Holly?
That'd be the one thing. I didn't. You said she was some actress, famous actress
I
back
didn't say
then,
she
but
was famous, but I liked her in Heart Like a Wheel.
yeah,
I didn't
I don't know
recognize
why.
her.
I just never really jive with that character. And then now the shirt. I need the shirt changed.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I would change.
The shirt.
The shirt should have stayed white the whole
Stayed
time.
white.
Shirt should have been dirty white,
Yes.
right?
That's
Dirty
the one
white.
Dirty,
now.
bloody white.
Bloody
Yes.
white.
I
That
mean,
was
you
only
could have gotten
casting.
away with a light gray one, maybe, but
Yeah.
But not solid.
But how did it not have
Right.
blood on it?
Yeah.
I know.
Well, it did.
Yeah,
One of the
no
versions
blood.
did.
It
Again,
did, and then it didn't.
blood right here, and
Yeah.
then
And then it didn't.
Were we supposed to believe that he was just a big sweater? I mean, like
don't-
it's a lot of sweat. It's just
well,
know.
the first guy,
Uniform.
he breaks
He's
his neck
wet.
going down the steps,
right.
and then I have a machine gun now.
Yep.
Oh, ho.
Oh.
Everybody else is in really like fashionable, like supermodel suits and
Oh, yeah.
trendy
He's
80s
in
gear.
sweats. He was
And
like-
that guy's wearing a gray sweater and
The
sweatpants.
the
sweatshirt.
Tight
tightest,
sweatpants.
tightest sweatpants I've ever seen. He was like Hans in France.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
Pump you up.
Pump you up.
Everybody else had time. I just left the gym. Rob Nakatomi.
He looked like Dahmer.
He did
Yeah.
look
Oh,
like
yeah.
Jeffrey
He
looked
Dahmer.
just like
It was
That
the
was a little spooky. I never thought of that
glasses.
till you
He
said
totally
that.
looked like
The
Dahmer.
glasses.
Yes, and the
Especially if you
hair.
watch that documentary this year. Yeah. He looked like the actor from that show. Yikes.
I'm with you, Scott, though. I forever have thought there just wasn't that much chemistry between the two. I mean,
I don't know.
Actually, I'd look. I want.
I don't know who it would have been
and
better.
she also
I just-
seemed a lot older than he.
Yes.
I was getting ready to say I want to
Maybe
look up
that's
the
what it was,
ages, but
too.
I just happened to look her up though, and she's. I want to say she's in her 70s.
She's in her late 70s, I think.
Yeah.
So he-
They should have got Sybil Shepherd because
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
her and Bruce Willis had
Had
the
chemistry.
chemistry.
Incredible chemistry.
yeah.
But in
Measure up.
comparison,
Yeah.
you have Die Hard 2, right? She's still the wife, even though she's not in it. But they
Her
refer-
voices. That's it.
Yeah, they refer to her. And then she's gone after that and all the other
Yeah.
ones. But what really should have been Die Hard 3 was The Last Boy Scout.
Yeah.
And he had a redheaded wife in that, too,
He did.
who was a little younger and much hotter.
Yes.
I liked the last boy.
So maybe that was a
I
casting
did
thing
too.
for
I
him.
So
love
I
did
thought
he
that was
need
a
a
fun
redheaded
guy.
wife? Was
Maybe.
there some gig for him
Yeah, I
on that
don't know,
deal?
maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe
I've
they
got to be honest. I've
should've
never
gotten
seen this.
me
Oh,
more.
the
I've
last
never
Boy
seen
Scouts?
Die Hard 2.
Okay, so just
Okay.
safety tip on all the Die Hard movies. There's 5 of them.
Whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah.
There's
There's 5,
5?
yeah.
There's 5. There,
I'm all like, I've never
needed
seen the
money late
second
in
one.
life.
There's
Yeah.
5?
4 of them are great.
Oh.
So watch 1 and 2.
1 and 2 are
Wait,
really good.
Susan's like, disagree.
Don't watch 3. Watch The Last Boy Scout.
Hold on.
Three.
No,
Watch The Last Boy Scout because Samuel L. Jackson ruins 3.
Mark and I have discussed this in
Oh, I
detail.
know.
And then watch
Sure.
4 and 5. and Last Boy Scout fits perfectly inside of there because now he's divorced and he's a drunk and trying to patch it up, and it's a better
That's
looking
true.
wife.
He really is the same character.
It's the
Yes,
same
same
character.
character.
That's
Wow.
it. Would have been a perfect
So
number
true.
3.
It's not part of the franchise.
Was
It's
not part
just
of it, but go ahead and throw it in.
saying that it is.
It is the same. 4 and 5 are decent, and they're newer. They're actually, it kind of goes back to your comment about do they hold up well? They actually transition those really well into new tech,
Yeah.
new things. And John's kind of the old guy, and he can't keep up with the new tech.
Oh.
Which one's
And-
the one with the son?
That 4 and 5, I
No,
think.
5 has the son. 4 has the daughter, and
Oh,
that's where he's
daughter.
got the little nerdy guy from Dodgeball with him.
Oh.
See, I don't
And
think I remember
Timothy Oliphant's the
4.
bad guy.
And he's awesome.
Oh,
He's
I don't-
great.
Yeah.
He-
Gosh, have I not seen
So they did a really good job
He
of
owns 4.
transitioning the
4's
story.
great.
for
Okay,
it.
but 5 was absurd.
5 was great. He goes over to
No,
Russia to save his
no.
son. Die Hard
my
marathon
gosh.
coming.
Die Hard
Yes.
Marathon.
Yeah.
I'm in.
2 is worthy.
Hey,
definitely.
and they're all on Amazon Prime because
Yeah.
Mark and I were looking. All 5 are there.
Okay, there you go. All of the Die Hards are on
right.
Amazon Prime. So
The Last Boy Scout you're going
Enjoy
to
the
look for, though.
holidays.
It takes a
Oh,
little while.
and Die
Merry
Hard 2.
Christmas, everyone. All right, so I know this is a little overdue, but let's do thumbs up or thumbs down. Did you like Die Hard? Ready? 1, 2, 3. I mean,
Mark's got 2 thumbs up.
It's like,
we all liked it. Whether or not it's a Christmas movie, I think we
Right.
can
It
all
is.
agree it's a great movie. Whether or not it's a Christmas movie, it's a great movie.
It's a
Yeah.
Christmas movie
good
you can
movie.
watch year round.
You could watch it year round. It was
Oh, that's a
released
good
in
point.
July.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
it's a year round feel good movie.
I like it.
Let's just call it what it is. It's the greatest movie ever made.
wow.
There you
Really,
have it,
really put it
folks.
out there.
I can't go.
All right,
Merry
so
Christmas.
Abby, you and I have some work to do. We have to start watching number 2, 3, 4,
Last
5.
Boy, Last Boy
and
Scout.
and Last Boy Scout in there
2, 4, and
somewhere.
5.
Yeah,
I feel like we are way behind on our Die Hard trivia, but we'll work on it. But for today, I think we have fully covered the original Die Hard movie.
Yes.
And we all loved it.
it's a Christmas movie.
It is a Christmas movie. And we want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for joining us
Good
for
fun.
dinner and a movie night.
for
We have to
having
have
us.
y'all back
Yes.
another day.
All right, guys, do y'all think it's a Christmas movie? Yes or no? Comment below. Let us know.
Okay. And thanks so much for watching.
Yippee-ki-yay.
Yippee-ki-yay.
He's been saving that
Keeping
the
it clean.
entire day.
Good job.
Yes. We'll see you next time.
Bye, all. Merry Christmas.